I know this question is a bit out there for some.
Not for this group.
Oh, good. So I've read a book about mermaids, and I was just wondering if mermaids are real, or if they've existed, or if they're just beautiful fairy tales, and same with unicorns. Okay.
This is what happens when you're too happy all the time.
Okay.
We're in the deep, deep archives. Wait a little bit here. The most important thing to understand is that when we say, if you have the ability to imagine it, then you have the ability to manifest it fully. And so there are a lot of things that have flowed into the consciousness of humans and been translated by humans into a form of reality. But what you want to call reality, what most of you want to call reality, is the sort of thing where nobody questions its existence. In other words, if a unicorn came romping through those doors and up on the stage, most of you would want to examine it closely. In other words, because it isn't part of your reality, meaning that it's not the human consciousness that is living on the planet has not reached a state of expectation to allow that to show itself in that full manifested form. And yet the evolution of all species, the evolution of all things, but let's talk about the evolution of all species, really is about life causing you to hold a desire and then finding a way not to resist it until it becomes part of your evolution. There have been so many physical beings who have participated in your time-space reality. And there are those who are able to travel interdimensionally. In other words, your imagination is a very powerful thing. Your imagination is not necessarily a departure from reality. The reason that we were not just willing but eager to talk with you about this is because we or no one has any business proclaiming anything that is in your consciousness as not real. And in the moment that you decide that you don't need everybody else or anybody else to agree with you about its existence, then it can show itself to you. That really is the conversation that we're having here all day, every day. There are a lot of people that have a hard time thriving in a bad economy, but there are those who thrive most in a bad economy. There are those who have a hard time thriving when there is a physical epidemic, and yet there are those who thrive even amidst epidemics. You are individual creators of your individual realities. But most of you have become so integrated in what's going on around you, and more important, so interested in getting others' agreement about what you think. This is the thing that will trip you up more than all other things. In other words, life shows you a pattern, and then you say, oh yes, this is something I know, but you don't seem to know what I know, and so I'm going to give my every effort to get you to see this like I see this. And we say, give it up. Let them see the unicorns. Let them see whatever it is that they want to see, while you see whatever it is that you want to see. Will there be a time that you will see unicorns romping down your street? It is unlikely. Esther has a friend who lives in Australia, and the first time she was in his car, they were driving, and he said, yes, I had another friend in the car, a few of them, Esther knew all of them, and we were driving down this very street, and they said, Leon, where are all the kangaroos? And he said, kangaroos don't just go hopping down the street. And then one did. And so, expectation is everything. There are a lot of writers who get into a creative mode where they begin to receive thoughts. And those thoughts are manifestations. And if there is anything that we would like you to hear in this room today, and this very example is going to be a tripping point for some of you, because we want you to let her have her unicorns. We want you to let yourself have them. And just because something hasn't manifested doesn't mean that it can't. You are not miles away from what you want, and you are not years or hours or months or weeks or days away from what you want. You're only vibrations away from what you want. So you have the ability to find a way of focusing that allows. If we were standing in your physical shoes, we would not try to stretch the biological boundaries of this time-space reality. We would not say, all right, prove it to me. I could use 2 more arms. We would start with things that are easy. We would start with things that are easy until we had convinced ourselves that if I have the ability to imagine it, then I have the ability to have a relationship with it, you see. Not as satisfying as some would like. We will not say that they are not real, because our work all day, every day, is to get you to accept this vortex that you cannot see. And who knows what's in there? Everything that you want is in there. It is your work to get into the receptive mode. And so, how far will those things that you have desired or imagined, imagination, that's pretty far down the momentum trail, isn't it? You want it, you've allowed yourself to imagine it, that's a thought that you are realizing. That's a thought that you are realizing. So what stops? What stops the momentum? What keeps the thought that you've imagined from manifesting all the way out? Thoughts that contradict it, period. That's all that it is.